From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is the Thunder Update. I'm Jenny Carlson. All of our postseason Thunder coverage is brought to you by J. Marshall Square, Oklahoma City's only big house apartment community. It's Game 5 in San Antonio tonight, and Barry Trammell joins us on the phone. Barry, this feels like a big game both ways. Really comes down to a 3-game series, but on short rest, only a day between Game 4 and 5. Does that favor the Thunder at all tonight?
Well, definitely the schedule favors the Thunder. In this series, we've got 2 games with 3 days rest for both teams. The Spurs won both times. We've had 2 games with 1 day rest. The Thunder won both times. So that's what you'd expect sort of out of a team with a bunch of 30-year-olds against a team with a bunch of 20-year-olds. So I like that aspect of the Thunder. On the other end, San Antonio has home court advantage. They've lost twice all season at the AT&T Center. So I think you still have to favor the Spurs, but Oklahoma City definitely has the fresh leg advantage.
Well, you know, Barry, I wasn't so sure that youth was going to be as much of an issue in this series. It felt like with Kawhi Leonard's emergence, LaMarcus Aldridge's emergence, obviously we saw him play so spectacularly in games 1 and 2, but it does feel like some of that old Spur theme has come back. We've seen Tim Duncan be very limited. Now, Tony Parker was spectacular in Game 4, but I guess maybe this is sort of an issue that the Spurs really don't know what they're going to get from those older guys in this series.
Well, you know you're old when you look at LaMarcus Aldridge as one of your young guys. I mean, he's 30. The only Thunder guys in their 30s in the rotation are Randy Foye, Nick Collison, and they don't play every game. So, the Spurs definitely have sort of a disadvantage with that. We saw it play out down the stretch in the fourth quarter of Game 4. Marcus Aldridge, obviously tiring, obviously fatigued, came up short on some of his jump shots. So I think that's an issue for the Spurs.
Barry, let's talk about that Game 4 fourth quarter. It was so electric. Obviously, Kevin Durant going crazy for his 41-point night, had just a magnificent fourth quarter. But we also saw Steven Adams and Enes Kanter playing the entire fourth quarter together. A lot of people curious about that lineup moving forward. Barry, do you see more Adams-Kanter together on the court in this series?
Yeah, I mean, I think Billy found something he can use now. I don't think he necessarily wants to go away from Serge Ibaka. Serge has been the Thunder's best offensive threat behind Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook in this series. Ibaka has more three-pointers than anybody in this series. He's got more three-pointers than Danny Green. He's got more than Russ and Durant combined, and he's shooting at a high clip, a good percentage. But still, the way Adams and Kanter sort of dominated the paint in that fourth quarter showed that you can get by with that. A lot of it's going to depend on Aldridge. The Thunder did a good job on him even in that fourth quarter. Ibaka's been the best on Aldridge, but Adams and Kanter, or a little bit, showed that they can match up a little bit with Aldridge. So I think that is something that Billy Donovan can go back to.
Yeah, you know, those two guys, Kanter and Adams, when they're together on the court, Anthony Slater, our Thunder beat writer, gave me this stat. Barry said that when they're on the court together, they grab 38% of all offensive rebounds. The Thunder led the league in that stat in the regular season at 31%, and they far outdistanced the rest of the league. So to be at 38%, almost unheard of, just the rate with which those guys can go get offensive rebounds and give that Thunder offense another chance to score on a possession. But Barry, when you look at this Game 5, you know, you mentioned home court, AT&T Center, the Spurs being so good there. We've seen the Thunder defense really be a difference maker. Is that what it comes down to? Or do they need another 40-point night out of Durant, more out of Westbrook offensively? What's going to turn the tide in Game 5 towards the Thunder's favor?
Well, I'd like to see the Thunder play efficient offense. If the Thunder plays efficient offense, doesn't have a lot of turnovers, then that will help the Thunder defense against the Spurs. The Thunder, and not all turnovers are created equal. Some of the Thunder turnovers in transition, and when they're playing a fast pace, you don't mind that because you're pressing the Spurs, you're making them run. but some of the careless things that lets the San Antonios get out and run, that's not good. San Antonio has more fast break points in this series than the Thunder. That's not because the Spurs are out trying to run. That's because of sloppy offense. So if the Thunder can play efficient offense, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the Spurs. That will give the Thunder a chance to win.
We'll see how it all breaks down tonight. Tip-off is 7 o'clock on TNT. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.